March 7th, 2012, with Alex Cosper on SAC TV. This is a new kind of news report, and you might not be used to this kind of way of delivering a news story. I don't have any teleprompter or cue cards or anything. I do have a few notes. I don't have a teletype machine or anything that is sending me news wires or anything like that. All I'm telling you is what I got out of the news that I read this morning from SacramentoPress.com about the new arena in Sacramento that passed yesterday, March 6th. The City Council voted on it, finally, and by a 7-2 margin, the arena proposal was approved by the City Council. Now, out of those 7 votes, one of them was Kevin Johnson's. And, of course, the mayor has been behind this arena project all along. In fact, it's kind of the centerpiece of his whole administration, besides making Sacramento the greenest city in America. Now, why would people vote against this arena plan? Okay, we're going to get deeper into the issue, but I want to show you a few things first. Now, you're probably familiar with this map that I drew by hand, and actually pasted some things together using, materials from a cheap art store. I don't want to get into it deeper than that, but this backdrop that we're looking at here, I don't know how to, okay, here we go. This backdrop is not the only backdrop for SAC TV News. We've got other things that I'm working on. Like I made this map yesterday of California, and you can see that it's a decent map of California. I don't know if it's completely to scale because I used my own artistic judgment, where the boundaries are, but at the same time, it really maps out all the cities. I mean, you can't say that's not California. There's a good old Sacktown right there in the middle of the state. Always in the middle of something controversial as far as state politics. Now we're talking finally about something controversial on a local level, which is the arena. And of course, the Sacramento Kings play into that because the Kings want a new arena. That's the biggest thing. They're threatening to leave town if they don't get this arena. And boom, looks like we have something to keep them here with, and that is a pretty good thing because the Sacramento Kings are about, the most popular thing in Sacramento. So yes, we need the Kings. And is that the only reason we need a sports arena? Well, there's another reason, and that would be music concert festivals, and doesn't have to just be rock and roll music. I use that as a blanket term that means a lot of different styles in modern contemporary music. Although, if it doesn't have a guitar in it, chances are it doesn't rock too hard. But there are some cool keyboard bands, too, that I would call rock and roll. And there's a couple other things I want to show you. This one turned out pretty good. I'm working on more signs, and again, this is a different kind of newscast because it just has different elements that you don't normally see. In fact, it's more of a I don't want to say spoof or satire on news, but it's kind of an entertaining presentation to controversial stories, and that's what we need. We need people to lighten up on issues like the sports arena, which is going to cost $391 million, according to the article I read today in SacPress.com. What other details would be relevant to this arena story that matter? I don't know, that seems to be the biggest thing. Sacramento is on the verge of bankruptcy, some people say, because it's been one of the most depressed markets in the country, and that was caused by the housing market collapse, for one thing, and we know that there's still a lot of unanswered questions about Wall Street's involvement in that. So, don't just jump on Sacramento for falling apart. I mean, there was some assistance apparently from the housing market, the mortgage market, and the leaders of those industries involving housing, mortgage, and I don't know, swapping derivatives and all that stuff. I mean, that's kind of what, or was that? But see, there were a lot of layoffs. Sacramento historically is a government town, and 1/3 of the workforce is state, local, or I guess even federal government, but mostly state government because Sacramento is the capital. So there has been a lot of downsizing in California, and that has led to the economic crisis. And there haven't been like an influx of thousands of new jobs. In fact, thousands of jobs have been lost, according to the economic reports I've been reading that have been put forward by Sac State business leaders. So it looks like the recession did bottom out at one point in the past few years, and that we are in economic recovery, but it's a slow economic recovery. So anyway, that's where we stand financially. Sandy Sheedy was one of the few council members who voted against the new arena proposal, which basically what they were voting on was the financing of this proposal. And it's supposed to be a new sports complex built by a company called AEG at the old rail yards, which is an unused part of downtown that would revitalize the area. If they just fix that part up, like Mayor Johnson wants to do, it would add stores and residential housing, from what I've read and what I've heard from the mayor. So there are good reasons for the arena. In fact, lots of good reasons. In fact, it would create lots of jobs. And Mayor Johnson wants the arena to be a green building, so an environmentally friendly building. That's what we need, is more green structures in Sacramento, because he wants to help make it the greenest town, greenest city, greenest region in America. These are his words. Mayor Johnson wants to make Sacramento the greenest region in the country and a hub for new technology. I'm just paraphrasing what he said in his speeches. So anyway, there's lots of stuff we can do. I'd love to plug this in. I don't have an amp yet for this, so I use this more for recording with headphones. But I have a lot of songs that I write, and I like to write about topical things. And maybe I'll come up with a song about this arena issue. So once again, Sandy Sheedy, her only complaint about, at least what I read, this is her big reservation about the arena and why she voted against it, is she didn't want to be on the same path as Stockton, which is near bankruptcy. Well, if that's the only argument, let's look at that a little more closely. Stockton isn't trying to build a sports arena. In fact, Stockton doesn't have that many big things besides UOP, which is a very prestigious university in California. But, outside of that, Stockton needs to develop its own culture and its own local independent businesses in a way that the local government needs to favor the local businesses. When I don't know Stockton's situation, so I can't really comment on that any more than that. But I know Sacramento's situation, and it basically used to be a mom and pop town, in the 80s. But starting in the 80s, it just went on this huge acceleration towards strip malls and just corporate businesses, which ran a lot of mom and pops out of town. Something needs to be done about that.